Chandogya Upanishad, Part 1. The word Chandoga means a person who sings Samaveda, Chandas. And the Upanishad which belongs to Samaveda chanters, Chandoga, is called Chandogya. That is how the name of this Upanishad was derived. This Upanishad is voluminous. It has the most mantras amongst the Dasa Upanishads. The Upanishad has 8 chapters. The first 5 chapters are Upasana or meditation. The last 3 chapters deal with Brahma Vidya. Since this Upanishad belongs to Samaveda, many symbols taken for Upasana belong to Samaveda also. In Samaveda, Omkara has a special name called Udgita. The first chapter details Udgita Upasana. The second chapter prescribes Upasana using the word Sama itself as a symbol. Sama can be thought to mean even, harmonious, or anything good. The orderliness of the whole creation is meditated upon. The third chapter uses honey as the symbol to invoke several deities like Surya. The fourth chapter tells a story of King Janashruti and Raikva. Janashruti was a great and benevolent king. He overhears 2 swans speaking. One praises Janashruti, but the other says that the glory of Raikva overshadows Janashruti. Janashruti seeks Raikva out and asks for his teaching. Raikva tells Janashruti of Hiranyagarbha, the cosmic energy principle. The Upanishad uses a story to teach us about the 4-faceted Brahman. Gautama accepts Satyakama Jabala as a student, even though Satyakama does not know his family lineage. Gautama asks Satyakama to take care of 400 weak cows and return only when there are 1,000 cows. Once that happens, 4 deities teach Satyakama about the 4-faceted Brahman. In the next story, Upakosala is the student of Satyakama. Upakosala's duty was to maintain the sacrificial fires. Satyakama does not teach Upakosala anything for 12 years. In the end, the fires themselves instruct Upakosala about Hiranyagarbha Upasana and Ishvara Upasana. The 5th chapter glorifies prana by telling the story of how the sense organs were taught the importance of prana, the same story from Prashna Upanishad. The next story introduces Shvetaketu, who is a student of his father Gautama, also known as Uddalaka. Shvetaketu was filled with pride and goes to a king called Pravahana and boasts about his knowledge. Pravahana asks Shvetaketu several questions that Shvetaketu is not able to answer. Shvetaketu comes back to his father and angrily declares that Gautama had not taught him well. Gautama goes to Pravahana and asks for his teaching. Panchagni Vidya is taught, the 5 stages before the rebirth of a jiva: heaven, cloud, earth, father's body, and finally mother's body. The next topic, Vaishvanara Vidya, is illustrated through a story. 5 Brahmanas go to Uddalaka and ask for teaching about Vaishvanara Upasana. Uddalaka does not know, and then all 6 go to King Ashwapati seeking this knowledge. Ashwapati says that Vaishvanara is the cosmic body and mind. Brahma Vidya starts with chapter 6. At the bidding of his father Uddalaka, Shvetaketu studies at his teacher's ashram for 12 years. When he returns, Uddalaka asks if Shvetaketu learnt about the ultimate truth, knowing which everything is known. The arrogant Shvetaketu says that his teacher did not know this. Uddalaka then instructs Shvetaketu about how an effect is not separate from its cause through the examples of ornaments in gold, earthenware and clay, ironware and iron. Similarly, all the products in creation must be manifestations of a single substance. In the beginning, pure formless existence was there. From that formless Brahman, the entire creation manifested, so Brahman is the intelligent and material cause of the universe. The elements rise out of Brahman. Chandogya Upanishad talks only of three visible elements: fire, water and earth. Space and air are not mentioned. Food consists of three parts: the gross, which becomes excrement, the subtle, that becomes flesh, and the subtlest, that becomes mind. This explains the reasoning behind how some foods can be healthy for the body but unhealthy for the mind. Similarly, water becomes urine, blood and prana. Thus it is shown that the world and the body-mind complex are both made up of the three elements. Uddalaka has now pointed out that creation is Brahman plus name and form. The cause is inherent in all products of creation. The Mahavakya, Tattvamasi, Thou art that, is repeated 9 times in this section, stressing its importance. 9 examples are given, of which we will discuss 2. These rivers, my dear, flow, the eastern towards the east and the western towards the west. They arise from the sea and flow into the sea. Just as these rivers, while they are in the sea, do not know, I am this river or I am that river. Even so, my dear, all these creatures, even though they have come from pure being, do not know that they have come from pure being. Whatever these creatures are here in this world, a tiger, a lion, a wolf, a boar, a worm, a fly, a gnat, or a mosquito, that they become again. Now, that which is the subtle essence, in it all that exists has its self. That is the true, that is the self, that thou art, Shvetaketu. Uddalaka asks Shvetaketu to dissolve some salt in water. He asks Shvetaketu to bring the salt back from the water. Shvetaketu says he cannot see or find the salt. However, by tasting the water, it is obvious that the salt is present. Then the father said, Here also, my dear, in this body you do not perceive Sat, being, but it is indeed there. Now, that which is the subtle essence, in it all that exists has itself. That is the true, that is the self, that thou art, Shvetaketu. The Upanishad thus stresses that the self is the same as Brahman, the consciousness principle.